UFC 307. These are the full card predictions and the betting breakdown. I'm looking forward to talking about each of the matchups on this card. So make sure you guys smash that like button. If you're new to the channel, subscribe. Turn the post notifications on and make sure you share the video too. And also note, I'm going to be live for the entire card Saturday, 6 p.m. Eastern time. The fight companion's going down. You don't want to miss it. Make sure you tune in, and let's get into the fights. Starting the card off, we have Tim Means versus Court McGee. Absolute OGs going after it. I could see this being a double retirement fight. I'm going to pick Tim Means to win. Court McGee has kind of looked worse than Tim Means in a sense as of recent. Now, we can make the argument, oh, well, he did fairly well with Alex Morono on top in the second round. But Morono put himself there by pulling for the ghillie. Granted, he did actually tap Tim Means with a ghillie, so I got to give McGee some praise and respect for getting out of it where Means wasn't able to, but the styles make the fight. So my big worry is Court McGee really is a fairly limited striker. He's not awful on the feet, but he doesn't have a lot of like high caliber weapons. He has okay straight punches. He'll come with pressure. His style is more of like a embrace the grind, pressure-based wrestler, grappler. Tim Means is a fairly hard guy to take down. I'd say he's fairly sound as far as his defensive grappling goes. Like, not too many fights where he's just getting absolutely worked on the mat. Now, he's going to have a legitimate power advantage. I think that's a massive factor in the fight as well, because when we're in the striking, McGee's chin right now is a little bit suspect. 2 out of his last 3 fights, he was brutally knocked out. Matt Brown slept him really bad. Before that, Jeremiah Wells chinned him. I could see Tim Means landing some big punches if he's able to keep it striking, especially that southpaw stance. I could see that big left coming right down the center and catching Court McGee, who's a little bit square because of his, his style being such a wrestling pressure-based style. There's a sense that his shoulders are slightly more square than what's optimal for like some of the higher level strikers. McGee is not that. I think Tim Means can hurt him. I think Tim Means could touch him with good shots on the feet. I do expect McGee to clinch up with Means at some point and press him against the cage. I'm not super confident in the success of McGee's wrestling offense. I just feel like he's not as sharp on the feet, and even though he's got good durability for the most part, besides 2 out of the last 3 fights, I worry about the striking skill set and the effectiveness of him getting the fights to the mat. Like, he's going to need to be ready to chain wrestle, pressure wrestle all night. And at 39, I don't know if he can do that nearly as well as he used to, but I definitely know Tim Means can still crack. Tim Means can still mix up strikes pretty well. I get it. Uros Medic last time destroyed him, but Uros Medic is a phenomenal kickboxer and a young guy on the come up. Tim Means is another OG, man. 40 years old for Means, 39 for McGee. It's one of those fights where may the best man win, but both of them are towards the end stage of their fighting careers in all actuality, and they've had long UFC careers. Damn, Court McGee, what did he win? The Ultimate Fighter season 11? He's been here forever. Tim Means is minus 210 as the favorite. McGee's plus 180 as the underdog. If you're going for a dog, it's like backing the 39-year-old McGee. It doesn't seem like the best idea. Could he go out, land takedowns, and control? Maybe, but I just don't see the high likely chance of Tim Means getting wrestle-fucked for 3 rounds against a nearly 40-year-old Court McGee. I think more so McGee's at risk of getting caught on the feet. Over minus 183, under plus 153. I don't necessarily love the prop betting side or the over-unders on this fight. I think Tim Means should win. I think he can eke out a decision, but I also think that he could rock Court McGee and potentially finish him with big punches. So, gonna ride with the Dirty Bird to find a way to get it done. But both of these guys are on a bit of a slump. We got a 1-4 in the last 5 for Tim Means, and we got a 3-fight losing streak for Court McGee. In a sense, I think better option is double retirement, but at the least, it seems like a loser leaves town type of fight, and I'm going to go with Tim Means to find a way to win. Next fight on the card, we have Ovince St. Preux versus Ryan Spann. I'm going to pick Ryan Spann. This fight was supposed to happen, like a month back at the Burns-Brady card, and it ended up getting canceled. And now, thankfully, we got a nice reschedule, and I believe OSP got sick. They switch it up and put it on this card. I actually feel like it's a fun fight to add to this card. I'm interested in this matchup a lot. I think that Ovince St. Preux has a very awkward and unorthodox striking style. He throws a lot of looping shots, and honestly, I like OSP. I've been following OSP since he was like 7-4 or 8-4 as a pro back in the Strikeforce days. So I've watched his whole career play out. He's just, UFC level, but he's 41. He's awkward, and he's got loopy punches and weird submission skills, but seems to have slowed down a bit. I definitely think Ryan Spann is the better striker. He's definitely the bigger puncher. He's definitely cleaner on the feet than OSP at this point. I don't know. Things can go so random with both these guys. We've seen Ryan Spann absolutely sell in fights as of late. We've seen OSP pull off a pretty big upset against Nzechukwu in a fight he was 100% supposed to lose, and he ends up hurting Nzechukwu with that fight. But I think that Spann is so much cleaner than an Nzechukwu, and seeing that OSP was relatively competitive there, I think Spann could touch him up with some big shots. The worry is, does Spann get the finish? He could end up being a little bit hesitant and then trying to embrace the grind with wrestling. I mean, against Bogdan Gushkov, Ryan Spann was trying to force the fight on the mat, and obviously we saw why in round number 2. Gushkov absolutely destroyed him. But OSP doesn't have that type of striking skill, especially not at 41. I don't think he ever had the slickness of like a Gushkov. OSP has one-shot power, but I think it's going to be hard to land something super clean on Spann. I got to go with Ryan Spann. Decision wouldn't shock me, but I think I'm going to pick Ryan Spann by KO officially. He's got really good straights, and I think with the way OSP throws those loopy punches, and at times his awkwardness puts him out of position, I think Spann could end up dropping him and putting him to sleep. So I'm going to go Spann by a knockout. If you look, last 2 losses for OSP are KOs, Felipe Lins and Tanner Bozier. The last 3, and Jamal Hill knocking him out. Granted, the Jamal Hill loss of them all is not bad. Jamal Hill's still a top contender at light heavyweight, but rough loss to Lins, who was super quick. Bad loss to Bozier, that was up at heavyweight as well. And then the Shogun win was way too close for the corpse version of Shogun, especially that Shogun that then fought Potieria and got absolutely wrecked in a round. And then the win against Nzechukwu on a close decision. I'm going Spann by KO. He's on a 3-fight losing streak, but albeit pretty good competition, and I think he's live to get a knockout. I'm going to go Spann for the finish. Minus 330 is the favorite. I got a better feeling about Spann than I did before. I spent a little more time on this fight with like a renewed and updated breakdown for it since we talked about it for that Vegas card with, Burns-Brady. I have more of an inkling that Spann is going to find the kill in the fight. So minus 330 for Ryan Spann, OSP plus 270. I think Spann's pretty good to go. I would go for an under 2.5 as opposed to an under 1.5 because there is a world where Spann is patient and gets it done a little later. But definitely, if I had to tell you, gun to my head, I'm going to say under 1.5 and Spann finds the kill shot earlier. But I'm not necessarily pushing that as a good bet. I think Ryan Spann to win inside of the distance is very live. I think the money line of Ryan Spann is very live. He is a chalky tag, though, and definitely on a 3-fight losing streak. His reliability is a little iffy at this point, but you have to recognize it is good competition. The Anthony Smith fight could have went his way, and then a Bogdan Gushkov loss and a loss to freaking Nikita Krylov. Not bad losses to have. Those guys are savages. Those guys are top-tier light heavyweights, and I think Spann can beat an aging Ovince St. Preux by knockout. So Ryan Spann, and I'm going to officially predict the KO side. I think he's getting it done. And I'm going to say a deserving minus 330 tag. Next fight on the card. Ladies going after it. I'll be honest, flip a coin. I'm picking Tisha Pennington to win, but it's not simply because of what she does inside of the octagon. It is an external factor. Carla Esparza, this is her first fight back since having a child. And I was looking at her Instagram, and I have to say, there is a lot more age on Carla Esparza than there is to Tisha, who also had a kid. But we've seen Tisha come back and fight since then, and she's gotten in incredible shape. Esparza, I don't know where she's going to be at in the comeback. I mean, she has not fought in almost 2 years when Weili choked her out. Esparza is a really good wrestler. Like, credit to Carla Esparza. She's great at landing takedowns, and she is relentless with these freaking takedowns. This is actually a rematch. Their first fight wasn't, an official fight. It was an exhibition fight back on The Ultimate Fighter, season 20, and that was the season Esparza won, and even then, it was really close. It was a majority decision on a 2-round fight. I actually thought we probably should have went to a 3rd round in that fight because I thought Tisha did a bit more damage in round 2, and I honestly agree with the draw after the first 2 rounds. So the majority decision, I guess it makes sense. They rewarded that Esparza takedown pressure, but in round 2, she didn't have a ton of success with it. But where I'm going with this, and I'm alluding to the fact that this fight can be extremely competitive and potentially very frustrating to watch as a fan. Now, if you're on the betting side of either one of them, good luck to you. I know that the Carla Esparza pick side is getting a ton of love on Tapology. Over 1,000 people picking Carla Esparza. But the weird part of it is looking at the betting lines, it tells a different story because Esparza opened up as a -135 favorite, but we've seen the line flip towards Tisha Torres at -175. So the gambling money seems to be coming heavy on the side of Tisha. If Esparza was this great underdog that's 100% supposed to win, 80% of the people picking him, doesn't seem like they're all betting her. Why is she plus 150? Why would the books even have it at plus money? Why is this not at worst -110, -120, and essentially a pick'ems line? So oddness with the odds, and that's something that I thought about. I was like, the odds favoring Tisha Torres, not to say that swayed my pick. I was picking Tisha either way, but it definitely added a little bit of steam to me. I'm like, they were still willing to give you plus money on Esparza. Is she really the underdog that's coming through? If everybody's picking her, I don't think so. Fade the public, right? Over 2.5 is -450. I got to go over 2.5 as essentially a lock for this fight. If there was a finish here, I think I would be pretty shocked. I would say that's a massive upset. A finish is a bigger upset than either result on this damn fight. I will anticipate that Carla Esparza has some wrestling success, but I will anticipate Tisha Pennington has striking success, and I will predict that this fight goes all rounds and it ends in probably a split decision towards either one of them. I'm going to say Tisha Pennington for the simple reasons that her boxing is better. She does land more effective strikes, and she is relentless in her get-ups. Like, go and watch their first fight. She's forcing herself back up. She doesn't just accept bottom position. And watch any Tisha Pennington fight. She is incredibly scrambly. The Tiny Tornado nickname is one of the more fitting nicknames of all time because she's like a little Tasmanian devil. She does not stop moving, and she's not going to allow you to just bully her from top. She's not going to be like some of these fighters that we see that accept being on bottom because they're scared of potentially gassing or getting locked in a submission. No, Tisha is going to force scrambles and force herself back up, and she's damn good at it. And I'll be honest, her last 2 fights, being against Tabitha Ritchie and Mackenzie Dern, are both razor-thin split decisions that if they went towards her, I don't think it would have been a robbery on either side. I think she could easily have won the last 2, and then we're looking at a spot where Tisha might potentially be in a top contender fight, or even at this point, with the damn women's strawweight division kind of log-jammed at the top, could see her fighting for a belt. So I'm going to pick Tisha to pull through against Esparza. The inconsistency from Esparza, not fighting in nearly 2 years. The win against Rose was one of the worst fights I've ever seen in my life. And I think that Esparza could potentially chain wrestle and land some takedowns. But I have to have concerns about her coming in after giving birth, not having fought since then. And I know with the side of Tisha Pennington that she can come through with a lot of volume, bring a lot of consistent strikes, and get up from the takedown. So I'm going with the side of Tisha to get the win. Odds have her as the favorite. But like I said, I don't really think that, the money line maybe is the best side. You're going to be sweating your ass up. Maybe. But -175 is a little wide to me. I think this fight is more like -120. I think these odds could be even. And I think this is a true coin flip fight. But I will pick Tisha's side. And if you had to bet on something, I'm telling you this. I think that minus 450 over is like a lock parlay piece. So give me Tisha, Tiny Tornado, Pennington to get the W. I think she's taking it home and a nice rematch win against Carla Esparza, the former champion. Let's keep running up the card. Next fight, we have Alexander Hernandez versus Austin Hubbard. I'm going with the side of Alexander Hernandez. I think Hernandez has the tools to win this fight. He's definitely the cleaner kickboxer. I think that Austin Hubbard is a little bit sloppier in the striking realm. I would say he's relatively good in the offensive striking, but he's a little bit lacking variety. Like, I don't know, comes with a couple punches, couple wide hooks, rinse and repeat, stance switch, do the same type of thing. He's not really exceptional anywhere. And it's not like Alexander Hernandez is this absolutely, phenomenal striker and this maestro, but he is a very solid kickboxer. He's very well-rounded. He's slick. He's got good speed. He's got a bit of power. Not a great knockout artist, but has stinging power that at the very least can earn him respect in fights. I don't think that Hernandez is getting wrestle-fucked by Austin Hubbard, though Hubbard does have a decent single-leg takedown. He's not too high level in the wrestling. I think that Hernandez can outpace him, outwork him, hit him with cleaner shots, and I really believe Alexander Hernandez is going to take home a win. He is definitely a lot better at lightweight than he is at featherweight. I have not been a fan of the Alexander Hernandez featherweight run, and then we saw last time he missed weight. He ends up losing a close decision to Damon Jackson, and now he's back up at 155, but I have felt the whole time that his home is 155. Like, fighting down at 45 in his mind, he's like, oh, I'm 5'9", I can fit with those guys better. I don't have to fight a big giant like a Jalen Turner. But I don't think that his body responds well to the weight cuts. I think Hernandez loses physical strength. I think he loses power. I think he loses his get-up ability. And overall, I think he's just simply worse down at 145. When you look at his success against Jim Miller, he looked awesome in that fight. He was beating up Jim Miller. And even though Jim Miller is, an older fighter on the roster, still beating some young dudes' asses. So I got to put some respect on Hernandez's name at 155. And I don't think Austin Hubbard has the tools to beat him. Hubbard coming off the win over Figlock. Figlock's a 50-50 guy. He's okay. He's a decent, prospect that was a kind of bust. And then before that, he ended up getting subbed up by Kurt Hollabaugh, who's an absolute gamer. Hollabaugh's a savage. But I'm going with Alexander Hernandez to take it home. I think he lands more significant strikes. I think he probably some clean body kicks, some decent punches. Competitive striking affair, but Hernandez will be faster, and I think he takes home a decision. So I'm going with Hernandez. He's minus 210 as the favorite, with Hubbard a plus 180 underdog. I actually think the odds are accurate. Over 2.5 sits at minus 210. I agree with that over 2.5, and I think this is Hernandez's fight to lose, really. Like, if you just sit in with Hubbard and let him hit you with some wild shots, you could get hurt, but it's not like Hubbard is a big power puncher. Hubbard's not a great finisher, and I think Hernandez is going to be confident in throwing a lot of strikes in this fight, and I think he's going to be successful, and I think he snaps the losing streak, man. He's 1-4 in his last 5, and as much as I've always felt Hernandez early on, douchebag, I actually feel for him now, and he's grown on me over the years. He's humbled himself a bit. And I'm hoping that he gets a win, because I'd hate to see 14-9 Alexander Hernandez get sent out to the damn, Legacy Fighting Alliance, or be fighting in Cage Fury FC, trying to force his way back in. I think he's UFC level. I think he's better at lightweight, and I think he's taking home a nice win over Austin Hubbard. Hernandez, the pick in this one. Let's keep running. Next fight on the card, Ihor Potieria versus César Almeida. I'm going with the side of Almeida to win. I don't think anybody's going to be surprised by that. Almeida is an extremely proficient kickboxer. He's a former kickboxer that fought against Alex Pereira and beat him. Granted, he's lost to Pereira in kickboxing too, but he's taken on the absolute best of the best in the striking world. Comes into the UFC, gets a decent enough win over Dylan Budka, who's a bit of a snooze man, and then he takes on Roman Kopylov and he ends up losing a decision. He actually got rocked a bit in that fight. Kopylov was clean as hell, and he fell victim to Kopylov mixing in some grappling. Kopylov showed that higher tier of MMA where the versatility of the skill sets, mixing high-level striking with some grappling in, are going to be a weakness for him. But that's not Ihor Potieria. Potieria is a relatively slick enough striker. He's got a decent straight left hand. He's kind of fast. He's a southpaw, and he moves his feet fairly well. I would say he's honestly not bad. All right, he's got a win over Shogun, which we got to respect. He did some damage to Adolfo Balato on the feet before losing that fight. Got a big upset win over Bryshek, who was coming into the UFC with a lot of hype. Last time, Michel Pereira absolutely killed him, backflipped on him. But he's okay. Like, Potieria is not bad. Okay, Potieria is actually the proper fight for César Almeida. Almeida probably should never have been rushed up to fight a Roman Kopylov, who's very near the top 15, when that was his only second UFC fight. He wasn't ready for that type of jump in competition. And I know what you'll say, bro, he's 36, so they were trying to push him because he fought Pereira, I guess. But damn, Pereira had a way easier road to the top than Almeida did. I mean, you look at Oleg, what was it? Not Oleg Jacek. It was Michailidis. Right? That was Pereira's debut. And then he took on Bruno Silva. And then next thing you know, he gets a massive fight. He takes on, what, Strickland after that? César Almeida, he gets Budka, which, okay, lower tier competition, but pressure wrestler. And then he gets Roman Kopylov, absolute monster. So they did no favors to César Almeida on the come up. Against Ihor Potieria, I think this was the right fight to do last time if you're actually looking to invest in César Almeida as a guy that's going to be, fighting towards the higher tier of the UFC. Not saying you got to invest in him, not saying, we got to make it happen like that. But at the end of the day, I think that the side of César Almeida has a really good chance to win this fight. And I think he's probably going to knock Potieria out. I'm thinking that's what's going to go down. I got a good feeling that that's the method of victory coming home. I think Almeida's going to look clean with the hands. I think he's going to land some power shots. Also a southpaw too, with a well-versed game, clean boxing, nice stiff jab, good shots up top, clean low kicks. I think César Almeida by a knockout is the perfect prediction here, and I think he's putting Potieria out. And honestly, I'm going to keep glazing him because I'm still a fan even after the loss to Kopylov. He's still got a good future in the game, and we got some fun fights left for him. And I think he's getting a highlight reel KO at UFC 307. Now, minus 410 for César Almeida. Potieria sitting at plus 310 as the underdog. Now, looking towards the side of the over-unders. Of course, it's an under 1.5. I'd rather go under 2.5 because why do I want to just go under 1.5? It could go a little longer. Potieria doesn't necessarily get knocked out in the first round. Could end up going 2. Could end up going 3. Almeida could end up winning a decision. But I think he's going to land some big shots on the feet. And ultimately, the official pick is going to be César Almeida to find the kill shot. And I think he's putting Potieria to bed come fight night. Let's go. Let's keep running. Next fight on the card, we have Marina Rodriguez versus Iasmin Lucindo. I am picking the side of Lucindo because I believe in the prospect. I've been a fan of Lucindo since the debut, and I think she's honestly coming along really well. She's got fast hands, good combination strikes, a little wild with her punches, kind of Jessica Andrade-like. I feel like she seems like a quicker version of like a Jessica Andrade. She rips some really nice hook flurries. She brings solid pressure. She's very explosive in and out of range. And I think, honestly, she is like well beyond her years in fight IQ and skills. She's also well-rounded. It's not like she's just a striker. She can grapple a bit too. Now, on the side of Marina Rodriguez, you have a good Muay Thai striker who's solid from range, picks her shots really well, nice straight shots. She's got a nice right hand. She's got decent teeps up the center. She's decent in that Thai clinch. Not exceptional on the ground. And taking on Lucindo, I actually feel like a more dangerous style against her would be somebody that can threaten her a bit in grappling. Because when Lucindo is able to just let the shots fly, she's successful. Another factor to bring in, Lucindo does have an inch reach advantage. So Rodriguez striking from long range may not be as easy as Lucindo is bringing this pressure towards her and ripping her with nice hooks, super quick multi-shot combos, tying up with her, potentially looking to take Rodriguez down. I actually think Lucindo's a better grappler. Thing is, Marina Rodriguez is high tier. She's coming off a split decision loss to Jessica Andrade, and it was honestly a good fight. She didn't look bad. So it was kind of surprising to see that she's the underdog against a freaking 22-year-old girl who's now getting the biggest opportunity of her career on this 3-fight winning streak. If you remember, Lucindo's loss was against freaking Haragi. What a crazy upset looking at that now. The different career trajectories, right? Lucindo debuts and loses, now fighting Rodriguez for a chance at being an elite girl at 115, and then Haragi taking L's to Ketlen Souza and shit. Insane. I think Lucindo has the makings of a future world title challenger. I honestly am going to say it. I think Lucindo's got the skills to potentially hold a belt. At 22, as good as she's looked, I'm going to keep the expectation high. I'm going to say she beats the 37-year-old Marina Rodriguez. I see a speed advantage. And I know people will say, oh, but Rodriguez had good moments with Jessica Andrade striking her from range. True. But she did get caught with some big hooks over the top. And Lucindo is faster with those similar punches than a Jessica Andrade. Lucindo is extremely quick with these hook flurrying combinations. And I think she'll land some clean shots here against Rodriguez. And I think Lucindo's taking home the biggest win of her life. I'm taking her by a decision. I think majority of the time they face off, she's taking a W home. Now, Lucindo is minus 175 as the favorite. She opened up as a slight underdog. Freaking completely flipped. Marina Rodriguez plus 150 as the underdog here. And then an over 2.5 is minus 330. I will anticipate ladies fight going the distance. And what's interesting, again, we got the people picking Rodriguez. Lucindo, the people's underdog. And she is the favorite to win. And I think for good reason. I think she's a special talent. Very quick hands, very well-rounded skills. I think she's like a natural-born athlete, and I think that is a substantial asset coming into this fight that's going to lead her to getting a win. So I'm going Iasmin Lucindo for the win. She's going to take out a crafty veteran in Marina Rodriguez, and I think that now she's in the mix amongst the elite girls in the damn UFC women's strawweight division, and I'm looking forward to it. Let's keep running. Next fight on the card, we have our featured prelim of the night. We have Stephen Wonderboy Thompson versus Joaquin Buckley. I'm picking the side of Stephen Wonderboy Thompson. I had to sit on this one for a while because I was saying to myself, man, Buckley does have some boxing. He does have some clean power. He's a very pressure-heavy southpaw. But the way that he's won his last 2 fights is getting them to the ground, controlling a bit, and at least against Luque, dropping some heavy ground and pound. Wonderboy Thompson's incredibly difficult to body on the ground. Now you might say, oh, but Bilal did it. Burns did it. Shavkat did it. Yeah. You just named some of the better grapplers in the damn UFC welterweight division. I think Buckley has decent takedowns, but by no means is he one of the top tier grapplers in this damn welterweight division. So if you look at the success of Wonderboy against good strikers, I mean, destroyed Jeff Neal 3 years ago, destroyed Vicente Luque before that, beat up Kevin Holland, and Kevin Holland actually has a knockout win over Joaquin Buckley. I think that Wonderboy's striking from long range is an incredible factor. The karate stance, the precise kicks, the distance management. I think the strong advantage from distance, especially at the big cage, gives him a high possibility of taking home a win. I know Buckley's coming with pressure, but he's going to need to turn this fight into a bit of a brawl, and that's a lot easier said than done, taking on somebody like Wonderboy, who has essentially built his whole career on beating guys who are looking to make fights dirty with him. He always makes it too clean. Wonderboy is slick from the outside. He's precise as they come. And I think Wonderboy's taking home a decision. I think the technical striking and long-range striking abilities are going to be the ultimate factor against Buckley's relentless pressure. But I just don't think that Buckley has a substantial wrestling threat. So the way that he's going to win, now he's going to have to catch Wonderboy with a big punch over the top. We've seen Wonderboy knocked out just one time. And I'll stand on this. It was one of the flukiest KOs ever when Anthony Pettis got him with that freaking cage Superman punch. And it's just purely an Anthony Pettis thing. Look, up until that moment, Wonderboy was absolutely picking apart Pettis. I'm going Wonderboy. I'm going unanimous decision. I think they're sleeping on him here. I know he's 41. We got to have some fear of the age. He's plus 175 as an underdog, too. Buckley minus 205, the favorite. I see why Buckley's the favorite. I get it. And at 41, he shouldn't win. But I think Wonderboy's a little bit different. I mean, even the first round with Shavkat, he was defending takedowns well. There's a lot to like with Wonderboy's striking, and there's a lot to like with Wonderboy's defensive grappling. I don't think Buckley has the wrestling threat that's substantial enough, and even though he has a bit of power, I think he's going to have a really hard time connecting with some devastating shots, and I'm not saying Wonderboy's getting chinned. I'm going Wonderboy decision. Minus 205 for an over 2.5. My official pick is going to be Stephen Wonderboy Thompson to take home a win. And don't say I'm a Buckley doubter, because I picked him when everybody was against him against Rizzy Boyev, okay? I picked him when everybody was against him against Rizzy Boyev. I said, nah, I'm going with Buckley to find a way. And he did. He took it home. And I think Wonderboy is due for a win. And I think he's getting a hard-fought one on the scorecards. I don't think it's an easy fight. I think there's close moments for Buckley. But I think Stephen Wonderboy Thompson gets back in his winning ways and takes home a nice upset over the dangerous Joaquin Buckley in this fight. Good way to close out the prelims, man. Let's jump to our main card opener. If you guys haven't yet, make sure you smash that like button. If you're new to the channel, subscribe. We got Roman Dolidze versus Kevin Holland. I don't know if I'm a weirdo, but for me, this is one of the toughest picks on the card to make. I sat on this one for a while and I flip-flopped a bit. I think I have to go Kevin Holland because Roman Dolidze sucks. Roman Dolidze sucks, but he wins a lot of fights. I don't even say, bro, he sucks. He's 13-3. He sucks. He beat Jack Hermanson. He sucks. He just beat the best light heavyweight on paper in the world, Anthony Smith. Listen, Roman Dolidze is a smothering pressure fighter without a high-level takedown game. Yes, he has good grappling, but regardless of the, lack of Kevin Holland takedown defense, Kevin Holland also has pretty good grappling. Now, Dolidze could take him down. Dolidze could get on top of him and just kind of lay on him. But something's telling me Kevin Holland from distance is going to be a major factor in this fight. Dolidze has horrible boxing. Dolidze just be swinging wide overhands. I look cleaner than Dolidze does as I'm fucking around on camera right here. Dolidze is bad on the feet, okay? He's durable, he's tough, he's relentless, but he's bad on the feet. Kevin Holland has clean hands. Kevin Holland has precise punches. Kevin Holland is not going to be easy to bully on the ground. I don't think Dolidze has a high-level wrestling game. I mean, I know he doesn't. He's got some pressure, but he's going to what? Look to smother him up against the cage and control? Is it going to be Dolidze with cage pressure for 3 rounds just holding Kevin Holland? Maybe, but I think Kevin Holland can let his hands fly, and I think he can have some successful striking moments on Dolidze. And then another factor I'm going to say to you, we're at high elevation, and I believe if there's anybody that's going to be more impacted by this high elevation, it's going to be the extremely muscle-bound Roman Dolidze, more so fatigued faster than the side of Kevin Holland, who's more of a skinny, lanky guy. I'm going to pick Kevin Holland for the win. I don't know why he's the favorite. I don't get it. I think he should be a big underdog here. Roman Dolidze is ranked in the damn middleweight division. Kevin Holland's 15 ranked in the welterweight division. I feel like Holland's hands are a big factor in the fight. I do think Dolidze poses a threat, though. I'm not blind. It's I can see Dolidze taking him down, holding him down, and doing nothing from top but making us fall asleep. So probably going to get a pillow for this fight in case Dolidze starts winning. And the hope in my heart is Kevin Holland is able to stop some damn takedowns, shows improved takedown defense, touches Dolidze up with good punches. And I think he can do some damage to Dolidze. If you look at Dolidze's win, the Jack Hermanson fight is his biggest win, but Hermanson, in a sense, did that to himself. Phil Hawes knockout. Phil Hawes is not good. Looking at some other wins for him, Kyle Dawkins win. Okay, that was impressive. Kyle Dawkins is not really that good, but he had a good moment against Kevin Holland. Laureano Starpoli decision, that's ass. Lost to Trevin Giles. Split with John Elan. Outside of this Jack Hermanson fight, there's no high-level names. I mean, I guess Anthony Smith, but that's at light heavyweight. I think Kevin Holland can do something. I think Kevin Holland still got something left. I think Kevin Holland could find the Dolidze chin. Maybe I'm chasing as a Kevin Holland fan and I'm being blind to the reality that Dolidze is going to just lay and pray. But I really don't think Roman Dolidze has that many weapons for him. He's not as good on the feet, and that's an absolute. He's better in the wrestling. But is he going to be able to consistently take Holland down, and then he gets him down, he's just going to stay on top? Is he going to be able to pass? Probably not. So we're going to be looking at a boring-ass fight, maybe with Dolidze just controlling from guard. But I think Kevin Holland can find that Dolidze chin. I think he could end up knocking out Dolidze and shocking a lot of people. I'm going with Kevin Holland. Fuck Dolidze. Plus 160 for Dolidze. I don't understand how he's the underdog, though. I'll tell you that. Roman Dolidze should be the minus 185 favorite. These odds are very strange. Kevin Holland, minus 185 as the favorite to win. It's so weird to me that Dolidze is an underdog. I don't get it. I don't get it at all. I know I'm picking Holland, but I thought I'd be getting a Holland underdog pick, not a Holland to win as a fucking chalky favorite against Dolidze, who's ranked in the middleweight division. But okay. Over 2.5 is minus 210. That's interesting. I know Dolidze hasn't been KO'd yet, but there's a little feeling in me, okay? A tiny feeling. I got a feeling that Kevin Holland's going to knock his block off. I also have a hope that Kevin Holland's going to knock his block off, guys. Please, fingers crossed at home, because for the fucking sport, it is way better that Kevin Holland gets a knockout win. If he loses, this is devastating. Kevin Holland for the knockout. He's flatlining Roman Dolidze. We need a best case scenario here. Next fight on the card, we have ladies going after it. Kayla Harrison versus Ketlen Vieira. This is an interesting fight. I am picking the side of Kayla Harrison, obviously, but Ketlen Vieira is no scrub. Vieira's got good Muay Thai. Vieira's striking is legit. Vieira's clinch game is legit. She's well-rounded. A little flat-footed in the striking, but it's not like Kayla Harrison is this maestro on the feet. Harrison is that little pit bull pressure fighter. Harrison is the judo sensation. Judo Kayla is real. She's super strong in the clinch. She's very good at controlling top position. She showed some really nice ground and pound with Holly Holm. I expect Kayla Harrison to get a very grappling-heavy decision win. I actually don't think this fight is going to be as impressive or as one-sided and as dominant as her fight against Holly Holm. I think that Ketlen Vieira will survive until the final bell. I think Harrison is going to pressure wrestle. I think she'll get Vieira down a bit. Vieira might get back up to her feet. I don't think this is going to be the most entertaining fight ever. I think Vieira will be trying to throw shots as she's pressed against the cage, but I just think she's going to be dealing with somebody who's just too knowledgeable in the clinch positions to keep up. But I'm not feeling like Ketlen Vieira is getting ground and pounded. I don't think there's a high chance that Ketlen Vieira is getting submitted. I think it's more 3 rounds of consistent pressure, and I think it's 3 rounds of grappling work, and I think Kayla Harrison by a decision. She got a big finish over Holly Holm. Before that, decision with Aspen Ladd. I think she's probably getting a decision of Ketlen Vieira here. I'm going Holly Holm. I'm looking at Kayla, and I'm saying Holly Holm now. I'm going Kayla Harrison with a lot of clinch pressure, trying to work for some throws, controlling the wrist of Vieira, getting on top, locking herself in top position, but being very patient because she recognizes that she's a dangerous Brazilian. Ketlen Vieira is well-versed. Okay, Ketlen Vieira has a split decision win over Holly Holm, too. We got to put some respect on it, even if at the time I thought she deserved to lose that fight. Still, on the scorecard, she got it. I'm going Kayla Harrison by decision. She gets it on the scorecards. Let's go. Minus 650. My God, she's a fucking fat favorite. Plus 475 for Vieira. I don't think Vieira has the punching power where I feel super threatened at a possibility of Harrison getting chinned here. I think Harrison's going to be pretty successful with the pressure wrestling. Over 2.5 is minus 160. I'm going to say it goes over 2.5. I'm going to say Ketlen Vieira gets grinded on for 3 rounds. Kayla will look to throw some ground and pound, but I don't think she stops Ketlen Vieira on the ground. I'm going Kayla Harrison by unanimous decision, taking home her 2nd UFC win, and I think she's damn close to a title fight. If she takes out Ketlen Vieira, I think she's probably getting the fight against the winner of the next 2 ladies on this damn card. Let's get to the next one. We got the featured bout of the night. José Aldo versus Mario Bautista. I'm picking José Aldo, and I am actually offended that the odds are against him. I don't get it. Another one. I don't get it. José Aldo is a phenomenal striker who's got extremely high caliber boxing, who's extremely precise. He's got great footwork. He's got nasty Muay Thai skills. He's good inside of the clinch. He has incredible wrestling defense. José Aldo is immaculate at stopping takedowns. His most recent loss is to Merab, who is the current champion. Before that, I mean, granted, he did lose to Marlon Moraes a while ago, but that was a robbery. The real loss before that was, actually, it was right after that. It was Petr Yan. So at bantamweight, I mean, he's done great. His losses are Petr Yan and Merab, and Yan's elite. Jose Aldo's still amongst the best, regardless of the layoff, the retirement. Mario Bautista is a pressure wrestler with an okay striking attack. He likes to switch his stances up. He comes with awkward chasing flurries, but at times the chin comes up high. He's going to look to impose his will. He's going to look to press Jose Aldo against the cage. He's going to look to take Jose Aldo down, and he's going to look to make this a very wrestling-heavy fight, similar to what Merab was able to do to Aldo. Bautista's a high-output guy with a good gas tank, but he's substantially deficient in the striking department, and I do not think he has the wrestling, nor the clinch grappling, nor the physical strength to body Jose Aldo for 3 rounds and win this decision. I think Aldo is going to hit him with some powerful punches. I think he's going to rip him with knees and elbows in the clinch, and I think he's going to avoid grappling with him, and I think Jose Aldo's turning back the clock, and at 38, taking home another massive W. I'm going Jose Aldo, and I don't understand why he's the underdog. I don't get it. Plus 145 for Aldo. At open, he was plus 150. Minus 170 for Bautista. The odds have gotten closer, but Jose Aldo's sitting at this dog line. Wow. Odds are confusing this week, man. What are the bookies playing on us? I think Jose Aldo's going to take it home by a unanimous decision. I think he picks his shots well. I think he avoids the wrestling pressure from Mario Bautista. And I think Jose Aldo is turning back the clock with another high-caliber win. He's coming off a nice performance against Jonathan Martinez, where he looked as prime as ever. And you know what? Bautista's coming off a close fight with Ricky Simón, who then went on to lose to Vinicius Oliveira, who was in his second UFC fight. And before that, he beat Damon Blackshear on a competitive decision, which I thought he could have lost. And then Blackshear got knocked out in one punch by Montel Jackson. So I don't think Mario Bautista is elite. Over 2.5 is minus 300 probably happening. But give me Jose Aldo, the underdog. I am shocked right now that he's the dog. Everybody's picking Aldo too. I don't understand. He's sitting at the underdog tag still. I would expect this line to be flipped. I would expect Aldo to be a minus 175 favorite. Unless the book's got some inside info that Jose Aldo's got something going on in camp. I don't get it. I'm going Jose Aldo by unanimous decision, turning back the clock and taking out the gritty up-and-comer Mario Bautista. Let me pop out this in, and let's keep running up the card. Our co-main event of the evening. It's actually a ladies' fight that has me excited. I have been watching them since The Ultimate Fighter, and it's cool to see them face off. I remember on The Ultimate Fighter, Jessica Rakoczy beat Raquel Pennington and ended up going into the damn finals against Peña, and she got absolutely killed. And I think that Jessica Rakoczy is the worst record of modern UFC fighters ever. She retired from MMA at like 1-5. Granted, they didn't count her 3 wins from The Ultimate Fighter. She should have been 4-5, but it's kind of crazy that Pennington lost to her. Now we finally get to see it. Pennington versus Peña. I'm picking Pennington. Julianna Peña is gritty, though. Julianna Peña has deceptively good boxing. I know it looks awful, but she does land punches. I mean, it gets to the target. The flaring elbows, straights, and weird pressure combinations do work for her. Now, she does have relatively good wrestling, too, but she's been inconsistent with fighting. Hasn't fought in 2 years, whereas in the past, 2 years, Raquel Pennington's been doing her thing. Beat Ketlen Vieira, beat Mayra Bueno Silva. Raquel Pennington is 1,000% better at striking. She's definitely the cleaner boxer. And Raquel Pennington also has relatively good grappling defense. She got out of some horrible spots with Mayra Bueno Silva, who I think is much more tricky in the jiu-jitsu than Peña. I think Peña will be more tricky with a pressure wrestling attack. But I think Pennington's going to stop these takedowns. I think Pennington has way more tools to succeed in this fight. I think her strikes are going to be on point. I think she's riding the momentum of this championship win and this winning streak. And I think Raquel Pennington's probably going to take a decision over Julianna Peña. A hard fight because Peña likes to make it gritty, and Peña can turn this into a war. But I think Pennington's going to be landing clean punches to the face. I think Pennington's going to have some success even tying up with Peña. I think Peña's going to consistently press throughout the whole fight. I don't think she quits, and Pennington better be ready for a war, which I anticipate she's going to be. But I do think she's better everywhere but wrestling offensively. But it's not like Julianna Pena has good defensive wrestling. She's got like a 20-something% takedown defense rate. She was getting bodied by Amanda Nunes. Pennington could land some takedowns in this fight and get on top of Julianna Pena. I'm going Raquel Rocky Pennington, and still, I think she's taking it home. I think she's going to land more significant shots. I think she'll win some clinch battles. I think she'll even end up on top in some grappling positions too. And I think Raquel Pennington is defending the belt against Julianna Pena. Looking at the odds for the fight, the champion, Pennington, is the favorite, -163. She opened up at 2-1. Pena +143 as the underdog. I like the chances of Raquel Pennington. Pena hasn't fought in a while. Her last 2 fights are against Amanda Nunes. Pulled off the greatest upset of all time, beating Amanda Nunes. And then the rematch, she got absolutely murked in that fight. And I don't think she's beaten Raquel in this one. I think Raquel is too primed, too clean, and too ready. And too many tools. -260 for the over 4.5. I think Pennington wins, man. I feel like Nunes also had a little bit of a fear of Pena, right? Whereas Pennington's not going to have that fear of Pena. Pena doesn't have a win over Pennington from the past. Raquel Pennington's striking is going to be clean. I think Raquel Pennington's going to be defending takedowns. And this is the true battle of the ultimate fighter. We're going to see who's really got it now. Years and years later. That was tough 18, man. That's insane. That was tough 18. That's a long time ago. I remember watching it live. And Raquel Pennington's now the world champ. And I think she's defending that belt. I'm going Raquel Pennington by a unanimous decision. I think she's beaten Julianna Pena. She might even rock Julianna Pena. She might do some damage. But Pena is one of the toughest girls ever. Holy shit, she's one of the toughest girls of all time. Durable as they come. She gets knocked down, but damn, she gets up. And she showed that against Nunes, taking some killer shots. But I think Raquel Pennington is simply better. I'm going to go with and still champ Raquel Pennington for the W. Let's jump to the main event of the evening. If you guys haven't yet, make sure you smash that like button. And if you're new to the channel, subscribe it up. We got Alex Pereira versus Khalil Rountree Jr. I am going with Alex Pereira to get the knockout win. I know it'd be exciting if back-to-back weeks I'm on the main event underdog. Listen, I called some magic with Money Moicano last week on that pick. But this week, I got to go with the chalky favorite. I got to go with Pereira to pull through. I think, and still, Pereira is an excellent kickboxer who's incredibly precise and powerful. Alex Pereira is also incredibly calm and knows how to pick his shots better than almost anybody else. His leg kicks are off the chain. Now, Khalil Rountree, respect to him, has some devastating leg kicks of his own. Big oblique kick destruction of the knee against Modestas Bukauskas. He's got big punching power. I've watched Khalil since The Ultimate Fighter. He's got big overhand shots, looping punches, very Muay Thai-based style. And Khalil is a southpaw, which is interesting. Granted, Jamal Hill was a southpaw, and look what happened to him. I would say Khalil, technically speaking, is one of the better strikers that Pereira has fought, like since the Adesanya fight, because Khalil Rountree is a very proficient Muay Thai MMA striker. He has a clean stand-up game. He's got good power, but he got punched in the face hard a few times by Anthony Smith. And if Pereira hits you with those same punches, you don't stand. You're down. You're out. The fight is over. Alex Pereira, I think, needs one. Now, you could say, but Rountree's got the knockout power too. He only needs one, yes. But a lot of times they loop to get there. And in that moment of loop, I think Pereira's live for the counter shot KO. I'll also say this. Availability is everything. And Rountree stepped up and took this fight. But coming off a win over Anthony Smith, before that, beating Chris Daukaus, and before that, a split decision with Dustin Jacoby, I would say Khalil Rountree is one of the most undeserving title challengers ever. Ever. Colby Covington and Chito Vera didn't deserve their shots. But at the very least, they had some top caliber wins. In some sense. Khalil Rountree's biggest win to date is Anthony Smith. And I think Alex Pereira is probably going to absolutely murk Khalil Rountree. But I'm going to say something, and I don't know. Maybe there's some weird energy in the air. But Khalil Rountree knocked out Gohan Saki, who was a very high-level pro kickboxer years ago. I don't know if you guys remember that fight. So he has had success against pro kickboxers and beaten Carl Roberson, who was also a pro kickboxer. Beat Dustin Jacoby, who was also a pro kickboxer, albeit a lot of people thought he lost that fight against Dustin Jacoby. I know Khalil is sold as having massive power, and he does, but it's going to need to land. Could Pereira put himself out of position and get caught? Maybe, but I don't think it's super likely. I think Pereira has reached a new level at this point. I think Alex Pereira is better each and every fight. He's cleaner each and every fight. And I think the Alex Pereira success continues come Saturday as he finds that Khalil Rountree chin and knocks him out probably in the first 2 rounds. Pereira is just too clean, I think, at this point to be taken out by a Khalil Rountree. Coming off that sick knockout of Prochazka, and then before that, sick knockout of Hill. Before that, knocked out Prochazka, in the fight even before that. So it's like the dude's on fire right now. Any controversy around that first Prochazka fight was eliminated completely, as he absolutely devastatingly destroyed him in the second fight. And he looked better. He looks better in the defensive clinch positions. Is Khalil going to potentially try and wrestle? Maybe. Not a horrible strategy if he does, but I still don't think success is coming for him. I think, unfortunately, the chin is getting cracked, and Alex Pereira is taking home a violent knockout. Looking at the odds, Pereira's a chalky favorite, minus 460. Khalil Rountree, plus 360 as the underdog. I got to go with the Poatan side. We got to ride the Poatan train until it crashes. That over 1.5 is minus 144. You're playing with fire for that. I like under 2.5. I think that's very likely. I don't know what that line's going to be at. I think under 1.5 is live at plus 114 because you're going to be sweating so heavy trying to play that over. But I think under 2.5 is like a lock. Over 1.5? I'm thinking it ends in the first round. Might end in the first 7 minutes, but I don't necessarily love the under 1.5 call. I like Pereira to win by KO, and I'm predicting a Pereira knockout. And I think somebody's going to bet. I'm going to predict it's Khalil Rountree, but I recognize under 2.5 is actually a really interesting over-under. And we'll see what that line looks like as the availability of it comes out. I'm going Pereira. I'm going and still champion. The precise kickboxing. Now, the calf kicks may not be as effective here because he's going to need to use the lead leg against the southpaw Rountree, but I do think Rountree could still easily walk into an absolutely devastating left hook, and he has to be very careful standing with Alex Pereira because I think shots are still going to get true, and the way that Rountree throws, the looping and wild shots, I think they give opportunities for a counter that Alex Pereira is just going to be undeniable in capitalizing in. So we're going Alex Pereira. I'm going and still champion. I'm going knockout win. Those are the predictions for this absolutely stacked UFC 307 card that I can't wait for. I hope you guys enjoyed the breakdown. Make sure you guys smash the likes on your way out. And if you're new, subscribe. Definitely let me know in the comments what you thought of the picks. I want to hear what you guys are picking. Any crazy picks on the card from you? Because I think some of you are going to have some savagery. I want to hear from the people. If you got nothing to say in the comments, but you just enjoy the content, as always, W in the chat to boost the algorithm for your boy. Thanks for watching, everybody. I'll see you all in the next one. Peace out.